Hey everybody, welcome to the Live Reality Games podcast. We are talking about Sequester Season 4, Episode 5 tonight. We are live on the Live Reality Games Facebook page, YouTube channel, and of course, afterwards you can catch this in the Live Reality Games podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. This is obviously going to be available later, so if you need to be watching the news right now or whatever, please go do that. But if you need a break and you just want to relax and talk some Sequester and get away from the real world for a bit, that's what we are here for. So joining me, as always, is Hannah, aka H Flam.
Hello.
And we have a very special guest tonight, one of the standouts from Season 3 who knows a thing or two about battle matches. It is Erica Hersh. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me, you guys. This is so exciting.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. So, Erica, what have you thought about Season 4 so far?
I don't know if you guys follow me on Twitter, but I feel like I have a lot of thoughts about the season.
Oh, I see your thoughts on
different.
Twitter.
I feel like it's so different, obviously, when you played it and then you see people play it after you. It's so different too with the mentality of the mini mentality before. I didn't have time. I still, with the pandemic, I was still working a lot, and so I didn't have a chance to watch a lot of the minis. So I only really knew Jay West going in, obviously, and then Brett, clearly, and a couple people I recognized. So then having all this thing, I was like, am I missing something? Like, I kind of felt a little bit behind in a sense. But I think that because of the mini mentality in a sense, they have more that strategy was just right off the jump. It was really aggressive and intense. And I guess those relationships were already there. We had to really build those in the amount of time of game, and then having to do the strategy, and then wait, does this person even like me? So I think that helped having a little bit of those connections before, so you already were ride or die. It's been intense. I mean, I really, really enjoyed. I mean, we'll get into this in this podcast, but I've been really enjoying it. My draft is Billy, Marcelo, and Jay West, disappointing me. So I've been rooting for them. They're both playing such different games that it's very interesting to have them on my draft together, because they're not even really working together too much. They have Marcelo's kind of in the background a little bit, but no one is really saying his name. But Billy has been, and that's been something that I was so excited about with her, and her energy. That's how I felt when I watched her interview. And Marcelo, he reminds me a lot of Hunter, because obviously Hunter was my guy. So then I liked him because I liked his story, and I was like, oh, he's so sweet. And so and Jay West is Jay West. I'm always rooting for the Season 3. I was really hoping for another Season 3 winner, but it's okay. But yeah, I mean, I think strategy wise and everything's been going really great. There has been some roller coasters, but I would say this episode kind of, like we said, it's a little bit it was kind of the same storyline to me this episode as it was the last episode. But that's, I think, because of the tethering and the groupings and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I Skype together and watch it. So it's been really fun to watch. I'm actually pretty excited. It's exciting to watch versus play and be stressed or watching oh my God, I know what happened. So it's been fun.
You're not getting secondhand stress from watching, seeing people play the game that you played. Oh my gosh, I was there. Right. I did a battle match. I've been there.
Yeah, it's interesting to think
I had
about.
To pretend I don't know what happened.
It's interesting, comparing seasons 3 and 4, because I know that Audrey has talked a little bit about the only thing that she didn't really like about season 3 is that she didn't feel like enough people understood the strategy of Sequester specifically, and how she wants you to play very boldly, and that kind of gameplay is encouraged by the format. But I went back and watched a little bit of season 3, and what I do kind of miss about that compared to this season is I feel like there were a little more character moments, which is hard to have because the rounds are so short. But I guess I did feel a little more invested in specific characters in season 3, whereas in season 4 it is so heavy strategy, and these people really do play up so much for the camera that sometimes I don't get necessarily the same genuine feeling that I got from watching season 3.
Yeah. I think because of, again, oh, sorry, Hannah, you go.
No, go ahead. I know we're on a little bit of a delay, so that is okay. But what I was going to say is that Erica like already answered like some of the questions I had for you. Like I was going to ask, who did you know? What did you think of Jay West? And who are you rooting for? And you answered all of that already. But I had this like one crazy question for you, and I'm going to keep it Facebook friendly. And I'm going to ask, out of this whole season 4 cast, if you had to kiss, marry, or kill 3 people. Who, and Luke, you can answer this too if you want. I can answer it too. I actually don't have, but you don't have to answer this if you don't want. I'm trying to come up with like a fun one. But who would kiss, marry, kill this cast?
Kiss, marry, kill. Kiss, marry, kill.
If you had to kill off someone
kiss,
in this cast,
marry,
who would you remove? No, not remove, but are you glad Brett went home this week? How are you feeling?
Honestly, okay, wait, I'll answer part of the question. I have to say I would kiss Jay West because he'd be sad if I didn't. So I'll say Jay West. and then
who are you marrying?
Okay, so like different. Okay, because like Josh, I love that Josh is a dad. I'm a nanny, so when he said he's a dad, I was like, ah, like I loved him already. And then I mean Marcelo, I just think he's so like. I just want to like. Hug him. I mean, I think it'd be fun to be married to Billy too, though. So
I know, right? There's a lot of fun people. Who is bothering you the most this season?
Hard.
Who's getting on your nerves?
Oh, okay. So I know this question kind of like I knew this was coming. No, it's fine. It's everyone's on this show. They're here to like be able to criticize or take opinions from people. We had to do it. So one thing I think it would have been different if it wasn't like everyone was playing a mini to get on this season, because I think that like Muna and Jacob have a very big complex of like I'm Muna and Jacob from the minis, the minis, and it kind of creates the superiority complex that is like, who gave that to you? I'm not really sure. So like, it's hard. Like it's because they're obviously great strategy players and everything, but I love confidence and I love like going and knowing too a lot, but like being a know-it-all in a sense, a little bit to me, like you have been there. It's very different from a mini, like, you know, so I think, but I also think everyone let them have that as well. Like, I think everyone kind of lets them be Jacob and Muna. Like I like them as players, like in certain things that they've done. Like Jacob actually like got a little bit higher on my little ranks 2 episodes ago when he was tethered to Spencer, because he got a little bit more like feisty and had to kind of like dig from the ground. And I guess it'll be exciting to see Muna back, since she talks a lot about getting shot at and being missed, but she got eliminated. So I don't really know what she means by that. And I don't know if that's that overconfidence coming out. So it'll be exciting to see her play it again if she can save herself. I mean, she has an LOS, so hopefully it'll be correctly if she uses it. So it's just, that's the only thing. It's no one really like bothers me personally. It's just that complex of coming from the minis and stuff like that. Because again, I wasn't life. So
so that you are speaking of
that come on screen with everybody else. So yeah,
I have been fleshing out like a theory, but I think this is not even like that big of a theory. I think it's kind of like a fact over the past couple of days. And I was kind of messaging Luke and Pat earlier. Pat couldn't be with us. He's a little sick tonight. So hope you feel better, Pat. But here's my theory. The people who are the cocky, confident, big speech, I'm running this, I'm, you know, head HBIC, you know, like, those are the villains of the season. If you're talking Survivor, if you're talking Big Brother, if you're talking Sequester, you are I don't know about you guys, but you're just naturally don't like those people who are high and mighty, who are everything. And so I was like messaging like Luke, I was like, can you think of people from Survivor or Big Brother who have that complex that, you know, were the villains of the season? First one who comes to mind, Russell. Hands down, right? Every confessional from Russell was, I'm running this show. I got everything in control, blah, blah, blah. In Big Brother, we see a ton of people who have the big speeches when they're HOH-itis. Like, and those are the, you know, Jackson, Mickey, Devin from BB16. Like, those are the people who are the villains and you don't like. And so, and unfortunately, it's just like, you this season of Sequester, I am feeling that not likable vibe from several people. And I came in rooting for a lot of people. And I'm just like, oh, please don't give another speech. Please do not say coronation one more time. I will lose my mind. And we heard Brent say that to Spencer at the end of this episode. He said, don't do it. Go ahead, Erica.
Mm-hmm. Right. Oh, I was just saying that it's so true. Like it's hard because that's people's personality, is being outgoing and loud, and that's just who they are. But in a scenario like this, it's just like, it's really hard to be like, why do you like you want people to like you. You don't want people thinking that you're around. That's the thing. Like you don't, like, you want to be personable, but you still want to have control, but you don't want to show off. Like I'm untouchable. That's I get that feeling from a lot of people. Is I'm untouchable. And why are you untouchable? Like what made you untouchable? You know, so that's kind of my thought, and it's interesting to see it. But some people aren't playing that way with the underdog. Clearly I was an underdog, so I love the underdogs and I love the people climbing up the ranks. So hopefully that happens.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys know, but I won a Sequester mini this summer, so I'm not here for anyone.
Never heard that.
Y'all need to step back because it's my game today. Just kidding. If a Sequester mini gives you that much power, then here I am.
Yeah, it's interesting because Jacob and Muna, obviously, and I'm not just singling them out, but we already brought up their names. So they almost are coming into this game with a bigger notoriety than someone like Shireen, who's actually played Survivor and like has a lot of visibility. Like they're coming in as quote unquote bigger names than that. It's almost like they're like a returning player on a Survivor season, where they're like, maybe they have a following. They know that people really loved watching them play. The people perceive them to be great players, and they're like coming back almost. And it's like, you guys know who I am. Like, you know how I play. So that's been interesting. It's been a much different dynamic. Yeah, like you said, of having the minis as an aspect of the season. And we brought up LOSs a bit earlier. So just at the beginning of the episode, we saw Jacob get a battle pass. So now there's 2 LOSs in play, Josh and Muna, and now we have a battle pass. Hannah, what did you think of this new twist that was brought into the game?
So I was doing like a little watch party with some friends on Zoom watching this episode, and I wasn't paying attention that much. You know, I was having a great time watching, but when I watched it for the second time and I stopped on the screen to really read what the battle pass was, the part that stuck out to me the most is that not only does he protect himself from getting picked for battle, but he chooses who goes into the battle. And that is amazing. That is such a cool power. Yeah. Erica, what would you have done with this power? Would you have loved this power?
She would have needed it.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? When I saw Luxury Row, I was like, where was this? Oh my God. Like, that's another thing about like the Luxury Row. It's such an amazing concept. I freaking love it. Like, yes, you should be rewarded once you win. Like, you're back. You're going to be a target. And that's another thing. Why aren't those 4 people like, I don't, there's number ones, but like, use it to your advantage. Or like, I don't know why Spencer didn't just go out and say, I don't have an LOS, but blah, blah, blah does. So, and he hasn't, like, you know, like used it. Yeah. Spencer, he has nothing left to lose. Like at this point, like they tell you, okay, there's 2 powers and there's 1 that's empty. Spencer, you've been there like 6 times. Like, let the people know that you either have it or you don't, because at this point you're going to have to use it. You might as well have a little bit of power and control in it. So that was one thing. I love it. I love it. Love, 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 because obviously, in a strategically good way with the players.
I did a little bit of just digging on Erica from her past season, and she won 2 battle matches and played an LOS to block a 3rd. Out of the 9 rounds that she survived, she received votes for 5 of those rounds. And only 1 time was she eligible for elimination that she didn't receive votes. So just a few fun Erica facts about how much she could have used Luxury Row in her season. But I just realized sitting here that, like, the first scene in next episode that we're going to get is Spencer going to Luxury Row again and not getting anything because now there's nothing left. And this poor guy is just going to have like, I tried every box. There's nothing there.
If they like hype it up again, we shouldn't even show it anymore. I actually was going to ask you guys. So Erica kind of brought this up, but like, what should your play be with the LOS at this point? Like pretending like you have one, like, you know, Brent was struggling with like whether he tells someone he has it or doesn't. Like, is the play, like you were saying, Erica, to just tell other people like, I don't have it, but I know someone who has been battled back has it. So is that what the play should have been?
Right. I think, I think it should have been like because it's like a last ditch effort at this point. Like, you know, like he's about to go in a third time. If I was him, I don't know if I would have done it if I was like Jacob or someone, because they weren't like being like Natalie and Josh weren't getting targeted really, you know, but Spencer, I really think he should have been like, you know, there's this thing called Luxury Row that we've been going to after these battles. Like there's two powers and I don't know what they are, but I'm assuming it's for, a safety or some type of protection. So one of these people has it, and I think it's blah blah blah. Because what does he have to lose at this point? Like calling people out, you know? Like I don't think anyone's gonna think he's making it up. Like, oh, what?
And it's also like, why don't you burn your votes on Josh? And who was Josh with? Marcel? No, Josh
Jacob.
with Jacob. Like, why not get the LOS out and played? Like, you know, try to get them.
I can't even. When Natalie brought it up, I was like, oh, you're so close, Natalie. You're so close. I'm like, you're so close. I'm like, please. Because it's like, oh, Josh might have one. And I'm like, oh, my God. Like, it's there.
Marcelo and Natalie had like back-to-back of the exact same confessional. Both of them were like, Josh really doesn't want to talk about LOSs, does he? We're like, so they both caught on, and I think Josh has been playing a fantastic game, so I was surprised that he like let that slip, but that'll be interesting to track going forward if they both like notice at the exact same time.
I think it's going to become part of a storyline for him, and like people. I think it's going to be part of his kind of either downfall or where he rises up in next episode, I think, because people kind of started thinking about LOSs again.
Speaking of storyline, I was just like hashing this out with Luke earlier about, I feel like this episode, I was trying to call it a bottle episode earlier, but it's not a bottle episode. It's like a penultimate episode, but it's not a penultimate episode. This episode of Sequester was the episode that laid out basically what the rest of the season is going to be. I feel like we saw so much about setting up relationships, who people are working with, who people are targeting. And I just feel like once Spencer and Brent got paired up, it was like a death sentence for them. And there wasn't much strategy to go there. Like there was strategy that could have been done, but we didn't see it. Instead, we got to see a lot of building up to what the final 8 is going to look like. And I just really, on my second watch, it was really cool hearing people's thoughts about like, I don't trust Brendan. Natalie talking about I shouldn't trust Jacob, but he's bringing me in and I want to trust him. And I just feel like we got a lot. So when we talk about this episode and what we saw, I just feel like we're going to have a lot of points where we're like, and you know, we're kind of getting a hint of, you know, Marcelo's up to something and all that stuff. So anyways, I just wanted to say that before we, you know, jumped into stuff.
Yeah, I think that'll be really interesting because we did get a lot of that about, you know, who do you want to sit next to in the final two, a lot of that. But going back to the beginning, I know that we kind of touched on a little bit. This twist gets announced. So we see, you know, Jacob and Spencer come back. Muna comes back. Muna and Spencer go at it for a little bit. And then the twist is announced. And I mean, I listened to Brent's X interview, and he basically said as soon as the twist was announced, he knew that he was cooked. Like it was going to be him and Spencer together, and they were going to be out. And I do personally think that this twist was overpowered. I went back and looked up like what previous returning players got as a power, and they basically got nothing. Like Cam in your season, she was like safe for a round, but she was like the judge for a competition, but it didn't matter. And Hamza had a little bit of power with a floater night thing, but it was like nothing compared to the power that Muna had. I mean, Muna decided the pair that was eliminated.
Who went home.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I thought. Like, and I've said this a lot. People are like, oh, it's the game of Sequester. You always know the returnee has power. And I'm like, I understand that. And that clearly I was there and I was pissed when it was Cam. Love you, Cam. But like, I get it that like, yes, we don't want it to be a revolving door. I understand that. But I think that like, if you can go in there and not be eligible for the vote, like to get eliminated. But if you're going to vote for someone that's eliminated, you need to be able to be battled. That's like my thought process of it. Because if you're going to put a vote towards someone that's leaving, you need to be able to fight. You need to like be able to like put your money where your mouth is in a sense. Like it's totally a free pass. And then for her to also not have to battle. And the whole thing of Sequester is the dragging and like pulling someone out of like left field. And we didn't get that this episode. So it's
and
like,
there was nothing.
It was like even Brent. No, and Brent even said like, I don't even get to threaten anybody with the drag, you know, like I don't even get to be like, well, if you take me, I'm taking you. And that's what made it so easy for everyone this round. And then again, I mean, granted, people don't get an LOS coming back into as a returnee. But I mean, I think that as those people in the battle back, they're probably going to give it to each other, you know? So it's kind of like, I feel like they're going to give it to people they've made connections with in the jury house. Plus they're getting extra safety. So they're automatically in the top 6, technically, when they were out for a few rounds. I don't know. I'm so like passionate about like, you have like, even if you were floating by, you floated to the jury or you floated to top 8, and then all of a sudden someone comes in, takes that from you. Or you know what, like Brent, I feel like Brent really, 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 really got robbed. Like I really do. Like that wasn't his time to go. And unfortunately, like it had to happen. And like it just sucks. Like there was nothing besides a crazy LOS that could have got them out.
And that's why we didn't see any throne votes. We've seen crazy throne votes every single vote. And that's something that Brent could want to work around if he could try. You know, we saw him being like, we won't reveal your vote. But everybody's thinking, I don't care if you do, because you can't drag me anyways. Reveal all you want. And that's why we got a unanimous vote.
Right, exactly. Like it just was such a predictable round to me. And like it sucked because even the last one with like the tether, like who you vote for, it's the person that has him. I was like, wait, what? Like you really have to. I was like, I think they're forgetting who has who and who would actually get eliminated. So it's like a lot of we can't just vote Jacob because or we can't just vote Spencer because blah 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 XYZ. So it was just a very powerful episode with a lot of power for such an important part of the game, I would say. Like I just think that like this is the turn of the game because obviously like the battle back. I know that jury is already started, but that's just what. Oh, I was just so like I felt it. Like I felt the like the just defeat from them. Like what am I supposed to do? You know.
I will say if there wasn't such a blaring target as Spencer in this house, I think we would definitely the conversation would be different. Like, you know, maybe the returner, the battle back person does come in with their target. Like, what if Spencer wasn't there, but Brent was her target, but Brent is chained up with Jacob Jones, you know? Like, yeah, exactly. So, like, what if then we would see a lot more happening. But I think it's just when you're paired up with 2 people that that the jury doesn't like and that Muna's targeting, it's kind of like, it's the easy way. Pair that up with how awful Spencer played this round, and you get what you get.
It's just unbelievable, I think, to have that power in general to pick partners. Like that's with only 9 people left. I just think that's like a lot. Like if there was Cameron, more, if she had to be in the pair, if she had to be in a pair as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I even was thinking is, why does Muna even want Brent to go? Because I feel like out of everybody, like Brent would be willing to work with Muna. I feel like why didn't she even pair? I mean, I think her goal seemingly at the beginning was to get out Spencer, but later in the episode she's like, no, I'd be fine for Brent to go. And it's like I really don't get why. Because like Brendan, Josh, what are these people doing for Muna that Brent's not gonna do? Like Brent literally has nobody. And I mean, perhaps like someone like Shireen is coming to Muna in the battle and saying, you know, you got to go for Brent, you got to go.
I bet she made a promise to jury.
Yeah, but at a certain point, like you got to play your own game, and I really don't think it benefited her that Brent got eliminated this round and that Spencer's still in.
No.
Like I think she needed to get Spencer out at all costs. Well, let's see what Jamie says.
So Jamie's talking about how he also thinks Muna should have paired up Spencer with Jacob because that was already, you know, a kind of like a broken relationship that
but she didn't know. She thought that everything was like lemon squeezy over there. Like I was dying when he was like, I took her apology nowhere. I was like, I was dying. Like I was like, yes, like come on, like everyone play your own games. Like don't just like. And the thing is, he was so worried to the beginning of always just being automatically paired up with Muna automatically because they were matching and you know like they were so close already, which was hilarious. I thought he was like, I'm not changing my outfit. Like, but yeah. So like I'm very excited to see that storyline play out. I kind of hope it stays where she thinks he likes her all the time, and then he's like, nah, like I'll drop you when I can. But with the whole LOS and the battles and this, like there was this whole scenario where it was like, I can't even imagine if this scenario would happen. Like it's just so many LOSs being thrown out. Like you get an LOS, you get an LOS, you get an LOS. But
speaking of their outfits, we have been talking about the trailer from weeks ago when we see Jacob Jones clap, and he is actually wearing a little orange tank top when he did the big clap, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And I was waiting for it this episode. I was like, he's wearing the tank top. It's gonna happen this episode. So that's what I'm waiting for next episode. I better see him clap at someone. I'm ready.
Yeah, we saw him get loud this episode.
He's probably it's going to be when Spencer comes back. He's going to be like super hyped, like because again that puts someone else ahead of him at target. Like it's his little meat shield. So I said it on Twitter. At this point, if you just keep voting on Spencer, there is absolutely no strategy into this. Like. There's no strategy to be had to be like, yeah, we're going to keep voting out Spencer. That's how I felt when it was me. I was like, guys, what's the point? Like, I've literally I've either won one, I got myself out of one, and then I won another one, and then they just put me in another one. And like, at that point, you're just like, ugh, like you're drained. But and that's probably what they're trying to do, like the mental warfare, just like keep them going. But it doesn't make anyone else look that great. Like, again, he's building his resume at this point. And at the end, why wouldn't you want to sit next to him? Everyone hates him. Like, I mean, you have to put respect on him for winning all these battle matches, I guess. But also he isn't playing the best social game. He doesn't exactly know how to like feel to the people, make them like understand him. He just kind of like, bah! Like word vomit. So, but I mean, in the end, like I'm going to want to sit next to a Spencer versus a Jacob or even like Natalie probably, I don't know. Depending on right now, I don't even know if Natalie would beat Spencer if they were in the final two. I think they'd probably vote Natalie just because, again, everyone rewards big players. And like, it's hard unless you have a lot to prove. You have a lot to prove yourself. We hated that, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But like, so that's the thing. Like at this point, I'll be really, really annoyed if Spencer's a target again next week. Cause I'm gonna be like, what the flying, what? No, like, it's been like 4 episodes out of 5 of Spencer. So, like, yeah.
I know. I'm really hoping that, and this is what I was hoping going into this episode was that Spencer would just be the decoy, because that's such a great strategy of having everybody so focused on this one target that your actual target is not going to see it coming at all. Like they're not going to try and be defending themselves that much because they don't even know that they're being targeted. But I think that the way, and this isn't the choice wasn't Muna's fault. I think she played it really well by the way that she divided up the pairs.
Right.
So it seemed like, based on a conversation she had with Marcelo, that it seems like Marcelo, Jacob, Billy, and Muna might be an alliance loosely. And I noticed that she separated those 3 people out into different duos, maybe just to like keep her alliance, like make sure that you don't, do anything fancy and try and target like another duo. Like I made my target clear, like you guys better go after. I said you go after. So, yeah, I think she made them really smart. But yeah, it did make for a boring episode. And if these people don't start targeting somebody else, it is kind of like, what's even the point of like, just like, let's fast forward to the battle match then.
Exactly. Like, okay, if it's going to be him, like, it doesn't really, I mean, yes, like you said, Hannah, that this episode, they did give us a lot of like foreshadowing to like, Billy and Nelly were like, I'll keep her till final 6. So clearly, I think they're going to battle at final 6. That's my thought process. It's funny. I'm like, I see little clips and we haven't seen that yet. Like, they're still in like there's a scene in the like our preview where Marcelo's like, everyone's a bunch of bitches or whatever, and I'm like, that hasn't happened yet. And it's
that clip, he says, you guys are playing emotionally, and he said that in this episode, but it was in a different setting. So I thought that was. I think he was talking to Josh in the laundry room. He's like, God, you know, everyone's playing emotionally. We're the only two with like level heads. I'm like, he literally says this in the premiere, but he's like outside and he's much more frustrated.
He's gonna say it again. It's just building up.
Yeah. Speaking of that conversation of Josh and Marcelo, that was probably my favorite scene of the episode, just because I feel like it gave something that we haven't gotten previously, which is like, what is everybody thinking about like perceptions of others? And I thought it was interesting that Josh said Marcelo isn't running anything. He's a final two go. Like, I wouldn't mind sitting next to him in the final two. And I was like, I didn't know anybody was thinking that about Marcelo, because I thought he was playing a really smooth, under the radar social game, but it seems like he is really good at connecting with people one-on-one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, and that's the thing too, because I feel like that happened last season with Jess even, like everyone on like watching is like, no, like they're like so good. They're playing their part, they're doing their moves quietly, you know, doing that. But then people in there we don't see that as much. And that's where you get kind of like Jacob doesn't see it, but we see it from Marcelo, you know, like as a viewer. Yeah, because it's interesting. I feel like they see him as like oh, don't pick me, because like, the moment they said his name, like no, like not me, like you know, so they see him as kind of like, okay, if he gets the end, like he's never really been targeted. I mean, it's kind of, but I don't know. It's hard because you can't play that way towards people who are going to be voting for you in the end. You have to be able to prove it, and I hate that.
But especially like in a Sequester cast, like, because Audrey casts big personalities, like a lot of these people have a very aggressive style of gameplay, where even if there was somebody who played a really good under the radar game, it's probably not going to be rewarded if they're sitting next to somebody who played much more in front, even if it wasn't like as skilled, if that makes sense. Because I think you're more likely to reward people that play like you play.
Like you have to show, like people have to know that things happen. And like I feel like when, like that's the hard part, is like if you play under the radar, I don't really know if that actually happened, because I know who saw it. That's why my little my question in the final two, I feel like it got misconstrued, and that's where I was going more, is like, I understand that like there's different ways to play this game, but like I can see what happened with Hunter. Like Jess, like tell me what things happened that like everyone can kind of be like, yeah, that did happen, you know. But that's where I was trying to get with that, because if it was just like the LOS with like with Jay West and stuff, like again, like Jay West is in pre-jury, which one's happy everyone being right now, because everyone will have a say in like who does get to win. That's what I was trying to get to, is like, tell me things, like tell me specific things, because it was a lot of, I love Jess, by the way. Oh my God, she's literally the love of my life. Love her. But like, it's hard because in the game, like we weren't close, and I'm so sad about it. But like it was a lot of, oh, I loved her little farmer analogy. Like I plant seeds and I fertilize them, whatever. And I was like, I don't know what that means. Like, who's a plant and who's a seed? Like, so like to me, it was hard, especially going off of no sleep and then being like, what? Like, what was that? So it's like, it sucks because you can play a really good under the radar game, but you have to be really good at expressing it and telling, like, there's like Billy. I mean, she's not even playing under the radar, but the mafia round, like that's going to be huge when she gets to the end. Like that's going to be huge. So it's hard. It is so hard.
That's the struggle of the under the radar game, is that you have to like execute it really well. You got to make people love you so they want to vote for you in the end, and then you have to be able to argue it really well. That's the under the radar way.
And it was interesting in that conversation because right after, you know, Josh says that about Marcelo. And then I was going to say, Marcelo turns around and says, I don't see Josh being nice to anybody except me. Like, it seems like I'm one of the only people that Josh likes. And it's like their perception of each other is so off. In my opinion, I think they're both wrong about each other. And it's ironic that it just seems like these two people never connected for some reason. And then suddenly they have this moment. They're like, oh, this guy thinks that, you know, he's one thing. He's not. I am. And vice versa.
Well, that'll be a great final two.
Yeah, they're really going to be like, this guy, he didn't do anything.
Right?
And then Brendan
I know. I'm trying to.
Go ahead.
He like. I was just saying, in this episode, he got a lot of things off his chest. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So Hannah and I actually know Brendan outside of Sequester, but that doesn't matter to me at all. I found him so annoying this episode. He was the worst. Every single confessional, he was just like making fun of Spencer, like, "Oh, Spencer's such a big dumb doofus," like, da. And it's like, even when Spencer was doing something that wasn't stupid, we'd get a confessional of Brendan making fun of him. I'm like, this gets old. Like,
no, it's not old. It's entertaining every single time.
No,
I'm here for it.
Seriously, we've seen this play out like every episode of Brendan like making fun of Spencer. It's like, okay, like pick on somebody else. But
I think I'm Brendan, so I think that this episode has foreshadow. I would love for Brendan to make it really far. I think the foreshadowing that we're getting the story that he's either going to be a massive underdog or he's going out soon. That being said, when I listened to Brent's exit interview on Rob Has a Podcast, Brent said that Brendan freaked out too much when his name got brought up.
Yes, for sure.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think if you literally heard someone say your name in front of you to a group, you're like, okay, you're dead to me. Bye. Like, if you're willing to do that to me, then geez.
Oh Josh is in the chat right now. Speak to the devil.
Hey, Josh.
No, but I get it. I feel like we got Brendan bringing up like 5 times in the episode, like, "Oh, well, Spencer said my name, so you can't blame me for voting for you." And it's like, dude, literally, Brendan.
What was his choice? Like,
yeah, Brendan. Like throughout the course of the episode, like Spencer said whatever, Brendan and Marcelo, and then he tells Brendan, Josh, and Jacob, and then Brent's targeting Natalie and Billy, and it's like literally every pair got mentioned by them. So, like, your name's going to get said. There's only 4 pairs total.
And it's also the fact that, like, they're so mad that someone said their name, but, like, Spencer's game is on the line. Like, what is he going to do? He's going to try to get someone else, and you happen to be standing there. Like, it happens with, like I was saying, it was during my jury episode where Kristen, like, she didn't pick someone that was on her team to battle, even though they voted her, because she was like, it was Dustin. She's like, I'm not going to pick you, Dustin, because you were fighting for your life too. Like, we were eligible to go. So, like, Hunter, that's why I'm picking you, because you were on the winning team and, like, you didn't have to vote for me, type of thing. Like, Dustin was saving himself. And, like, that's where, like, that's where it makes sense. And that's what I think Spencer was doing, like, he has to save himself and maybe put another name out there so people can kind of be like, maybe that is a choice. Like, they weren't really fighting for themselves. So, I mean, you can't be mad at him. Get it? You can't be mad, but
do you think that for strategy for this round, they should have picked a name and completely stuck with it? I feel like we saw them kind of. What would you rather do? Do you think they should have just stuck with the name?
Yeah, I think the problem was like Brendan and Brent didn't get on the same page from the jump. Like, I think I think that Brent was doomed no matter what. But if there's a mistake you can point to in the round, it's when Spencer has everybody in the dining room and Brent leaves. Like, there's too many people here. I gotta go. And it's like,
don't leave Spencer by himself.
Yeah, don't leave Spencer unsupervised. Like, be his babysitter, stay by his side, because then Spencer goes off script.
Yeah.
But that
I don't know. It was a hard round because, like, what we're going to do, make 5 other people mad at you versus just go with the status quo and what everyone does. But I don't know. I like when the votes are all crazy. It's more fun that way, but it's hard when there's like, I guess they all had individual votes. So it still could have been like a 4-5 or like a 3-3-3. I'm ready to see a wheel, baby. Let's bring us a wheel.
We love a wheel.
Love a wheel.
Yeah. I was even thinking that I felt like they were only kind of trying to work with pairs where it's like, you don't have to get Brendan and Marcelo to vote together. Like, they can vote separately. So maybe just work on, like, because Marcelo's not going to vote for Jacob. So maybe just try and get Brendan to vote for Jacob and Josh and not Marcelo. And then maybe go to like Natalie and like try and get her on board too. Maybe you can scrounge up some votes. Maybe you can try and like get other people to throw their votes. I don't know.
Especially since they can't drag anybody in. It would have been like kind of the perfect opportunity to vote for someone that you've been wanting to vote for or someone that you've been afraid to vote for because they would drag you in. So, I mean, there's so many scenarios. And when you're there, you think you're doing the best option. and then later on, you're like, oh, dang it. Like,
I wanted to bring up something random from this episode. And I wanted to bring up the Natalie Billy conversation in the room I wanted to say something that I would have done in this situation. I don't know if Natalie would have had this mode, but I feel like I just saw myself in the situation where Billy is like, she's so passionate. She's like, I am loyal. I will look you in your eyes and I am with you. And then you just see Natalie just like, yeah. And we get the confessional from Billy where Billy said that looks like Natalie's she's not really buying it, whatever. And I just feel like, maybe Natalie Billy wasn't reading it. And I just think that if I was in that situation, that's where I kind of do personality mirroring sometimes where I just feel like Natalie, if she could have been able to just match that energy back to her, like,
I know,
yes, Billy, yes, like, yes, you know what I mean? And that could have helped Billy feel more comfortable. And I just think that, that's something that I do in games a lot. If you're going to scream, I'm going to scream. If we're going to be quiet, if we're going to hold hands, we're going to hold hands. Like,
if Brent's going to kiss me on the cheek, I'll kiss him on his cheek.
I was going to say
that. So I just think that's something that I wish I could have seen from Natalie as like a social move, but hindsight.
Erica, I get the sense that you're a big Billy fan. Are you a big Billy fan?
So, like I said in the beginning, like, yes, she was like my first pick on my draft, and I was like super excited because I liked her energy, her vibe. Like, I really liked her like that. But as it's been going on, this whole like loyalty thing, it's like she's using it as like, I think Brayden said it on Twitter, like she's using it as like military, like, here's my loyalty. I get it. And it's like, okay, this game is a bunch of snakes. You trust no one but yourself. Like, this loyalty, I don't really care. Like, and it's crazy. And that's what's bugging me is that, like, Billy, there has to be something else about your game than just being loyal and saying you're loyal. Because the thing is, she's just thrown votes. She hasn't really voted for anybody because she doesn't want to get her hands dirty. So she'll throw a vote. She'll, I'm throwing, Marcella, I'm going to ask you, can I throw it because I'm going to get called out. And she did, which was smart, but she's really not she's doing things to kind of like get by. She's not being loyal. She's just not making the choice that like, she's not being loyal, because she was loyal. She would follow her group and she would do it too. And that's
everybody's in
a little
group.
Bit right. And like, I'm just like a little bit like I said, you need a little bit more to your game than just loyalty, because loyalty can only get you so far. Like, if you're not going to help someone get their target out or help them stay, then what's the loyalty there? Your loyalty is to yourself, which again, trust us.
Yeah, and she'll have people pissed at her at the end if she's literally screaming loyalty at them, and then she backstabs them. Like, that's not a good look.
Like, you can't have like that one storyline to yourself, because then that's what you get, and that's it. You need to be a little bit more all over. I mean, I think she's playing great. She really doesn't have people talking about her when she's still so loud and, loyalty. Like, she talks so much, and it's just like, people are like, even though she's been playing really great. I think she's been playing like the mommy around. I was like, that's my number one pick, baby. I was like so excited.
That was amazing.
Yeah. And like, I mean, I obviously love an underdog. I mean, I don't think Spencer's playing he's playing a terrible social game. I think he just doesn't know how to maneuver the rounds when the like the fire's on him. He doesn't know how to like temper it down a little bit. Yeah, he just like makes it explode. He's like, well, I'm just gonna go with it. And then he like, again, word vomit and says stuff that it's like, maybe you should cool it a little bit. So it's hard, but you can't not root for someone who just keeps winning, like. Yeah. So
if you guys go to a pizza party, do you eat more or less than 5 slices?
Spencer eats 10.
I thought that was funny. But going back to the Billy thing, like, the comment that like really annoyed me in this episode is when she's talking to Natalie and she is like, when I look you in the eye, I can't lie to you. I'm just like, man, these comments, I'm just like, if I was Natalie, I'd be like, okay, like, store that away for later. Because like, if I catch you in a lie, I'm going to tell you about this moment. But I think she's playing a fantastic game to go far, just not a fantastic game to like have people really respect her game in the end. I don't know. I don't think I would vote for her if I was on the jury, if she was sitting next to like anybody that played halfway decent. Just because, that loyalty thing, oh man, it really irritates me.
Yeah, and that was even like the same thing. I mean, this is a whole other, like, another thing from this episode. And even the previous episodes, I've said it, and I never wanted to tweet it. And then Jamie Lee tweeted about it, where everyone's like, they're not going to pick a girl. And I know that was a huge drama with like Twitter and everything. But I'm like, like, I get people being like, oh, it's a weak move and there's like a bigger guy here. But I don't like that it's like the first response out of people's mouth is like, I'm a girl, you're up weak. Like everyone, I mean, other people even did it, like previous rounds, not even just this round. And I'm just like laughing too with this whole like physical threat and like physical. I'm over here, like I was telling season 3, I was like, what, do they think we're going to be out there wrestling? Like, what is happening? like one of the seasons you're blowing ping pong balls into a cup. Like I get like this whole physical thing makes people think like, oh, the guys are so strong, when like girls on season 3, the females were dominating the battle matches, you know? So it's like, it's so frustrating to me that people are like so like stuck in this physical threat, and then like, why would you pick a girl against a guy? Like, no, just like, I don't know. It's just, that's another thing for me. I think just because I was picked so many times and people were just like, blah, blah, blah. I was like, ugh, fine, pick me.
And like, I agree with you. I just feel like, I think Muna got a lot of heat for, saying like, kind of with her speech, she was kind of also agreeing that women are weak because of Spencer's picks for the battle match or something. But then Muna, when she was pairing up people, she paired up Natalie and Billy and said, because if you go to a battle, it would be a fair match. And I was like, wait, no, that's not what we're doing here. But I will say that Muna did. I don't know the tweet off the top of my head, but she did a tweet earlier kind of clarifying herself. I think it's just one of those things that you look back personally and she's probably like, yeah, that wasn't what I wanted.
I saw that tweet and I was like, I'm glad that it's like to get your side, or at least how you were thinking it at the time. It's just, I think from the game standpoint, when Spencer did pick her, like she blatantly wasn't working with him. Like absolutely never gave him a chance. Never, like literally he would try to talk and she was like, I can't vote Jacob, so I have to vote you, like every single time. So like he's like, okay, you're specifically telling me you are not going to work with me, so that's why I'm choosing you, like I don't know. And she's strong as a social player, so like it doesn't just have to be, you don't have to just pick someone for a physical threat physically, it's a social threat too. And that's why I said also like it's an entirety of a game, like so it's like take that, like, thank you, it's a compliment. Yes, everyone sees the physical threat and I'm a social threat, so let's get after it, so that's, I think everyone
the speeches,
I know there's so many speeches.
We didn't even talk about Brent's speech.
We should talk about Brent's speech, shouldn't we? What did you guys think about that? I mean, there could have been a short, simple, sweet version of it that would have come across great.
To me, this is something that you tweet after the episode is over. Something later that's like, oh, like I hope that everyone had a great experience. I hope that I brought fans to the show or something like that. But like when you're saying it to these people still in the game, like directed at the players, it is so condescending. Like,
but it's okay to have. I'm okay with having your. If he thinks this is my last time in the spotlight, no pun intended, because of the song. At the end credits. But this is my last moment. What am I going to say to everybody? I think you do say, I'm so thankful for this opportunity. I've loved playing with you all. I hope to come back. You don't say, I am just so grateful that I was able to show the world you. It's like, no.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, like, I love him. He is like, I love him. He is hilarious. Like I said, this was not his time to go and he got robbed. But I was sitting there like, is he gonna stop? Like, is that? Oh no, he's gonna keep going. Oh, he's gonna. Oh, like
he said,
you're welcome. Oh, I couldn't. I almost wanted to tweet at him like.
Are you a fan of Brent too? Like, I feel like I'm kind of like a lone like Brent fan. Like I have,
I'm a Brent fan.
You are? I thought I don't know. I feel like I talk with people and they're like, oh, I can't wait for him to be gone. And I'm like, I'm here for the drama that he brings and I don't know. I think it's hilarious. You brought so much to this show.
Like everyone knows Brent. Everyone knew who he was. And I think I said this to him. I was like, everyone is so expecting of him to be like, what the heck did Brent just say? And like do that. It's so like they're gonna let him get away with that kind of stuff. But I think it maybe got a little too far with the speech, thinking like, oh, I can get away with saying stuff and be crazy and be Brent. I think that like he was maneuvering the game pretty well, being a big name as himself. Yeah. And I was excited to see what people, because I thought he was going to be like first boot or so. And like, I was like, oh, because everyone's going to know exactly who he is. Like,
Jay West.
Jay West. But I mean, Jay will put himself in a situation that I've told him that a million times. I said, you could just get your mouth faster. But yeah, no, Brent, like I love him. I think he's great on the TV. He knows really how to like bring it and stuff like that. And I love his like, he is sincere. He is a very sincere guy. So I think like you see that a lot. But then it's kind of like rants and tangents maybe get the best of him sometimes. I'm bummed. I'm like I said, I think he got robbed. Like this is not his time to go. Like I'm devastated. I'm sad.
Yeah, agree.
Like I don't think he would win, but like I don't think like he's as terrible as a lot of people think.
Well, especially because I'm here. The reason why I watch Sequester is I'm not here. I'm not here for the speeches. I'm not here for the yelling. I mean, drama is drama is fun, but I am here because I love seeing people strategize the challenges and the twists. That's why I love Sequester, because of that. And I think that Brent is one of the top strategists this season. Is that you see him think through the numbers, think through what to do, and that's what I'm here for. So that's why it sucks to lose him.
Yeah, I mean, he basically said that himself. Is like his social game was crap, but like he could strategize the individual rounds very well and like get people to not target him just for this round, and the next round it's a whole like new configuration.
That's the thing, yeah. Yeah, I always said like Sequester, every round is so different, and like that it's like people don't realize. Well, at least now that it was very explained that it was 7 days, but like when I did mine, like people were like, why are people so mad? I'm like, that literally happened 10 minutes ago. Like they're still pissed off about it because it happened 10 minutes ago, you know? So like, and it's like, but then you have to kind of be like, oh, it's a new round. I have to get over it. Like, that's why a lot of times with me, I was like, I wouldn't even really hold it against people because I'm like, whatever, it's a new round. Like, I can't change it. Let's try to move forward from it and not like hold that against people. But I don't know, like it's hard because it's fast. People don't realize how fast it is. Like people think we're talking for like 2 hours in those rounds. Like, no, it's like 20 minutes. Like, you know, it's really fast. And so it's just, like I do like that. Yeah, I'm sad. I'm just sad. I'm thinking that we're not going to get Brent's like steps ahead, like thinking this. Cause I feel like I kind of was like that, but it was never shown because like I was my underdogness, but like I was always trying to think like 2 steps ahead. And like people even said that to me. They're like, you were always like thinking so far in advance. I'm like, yeah, you have to think like if this happens, what could happen next? And then let's figure it out from there. Like I was very like that with my game, like trying to figure out, okay, people are going to assume this is happening. Let's try to do something different. And that's why sometimes my votes kind of seem weird because I thought people were listening to me and they weren't. So
it's in there. Hannah and I have both played live games. And I know I can attest that like sometimes when you get to the end of the day and you think back to like, what was the first vote today? And it feels like a million years ago. It's like, I did not vote out that person today. That feels like a week ago that happened.
Right.
It's so crazy.
And
like your perception of time is so warped.
Yeah. Like it's just,
sorry, go ahead, Erica.
No, I said, it's so true. Like my friends, when we watch with ours, you would see us in similar, like the same outfits in like 2 episodes in a row. And then they're like, wait, what? And I'm like, cause that's in the same day. Yep. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, that was happening at like 4 a.m. People were like, and I'm like, so you see half of the people like, boo, like just zoned out. So sometimes some choices are like left field because you don't realize, it's been day 3 and we've done 15 challenges or whatever, you know? So crazy.
Yeah. So speaking of like live game or whatever, when Muna started crying at the battle back or whatever, I was on my Zoom watch party and I was like, oh my gosh, I would never cry in a game. Like what? and then like 2 minutes later, I was like, oh my gosh, I full out ugly cried when I played a 5-day game. And on day 5, I'm voting out someone. And it's just so ugly. And I was like, wait, nope, I've cried. I have totally
cried. Nope, done it. It's like you want to be so tough out there and you just can't. Like it's just
and that's the
thing.
So drained and everything.
There's no time to recover, which I think is the amazing thing about Sequester is that there's no time for you to sit on and dwell on it. You're just crying and then you have to move on. Like you're gonna have to go tell someone why you don't like them, but you're still crying and you're like, I'm voting you out.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It really makes you think under pressure. Yeah, like I mean, I cried a lot. You guys saw, so I was a crier. Like I know I'm very emotional, but I was like, damn, Erica, you cried a lot. Like stop crying.
I enjoyed it. I wish somebody would cry this season. Like, I would love to see somebody like actually like tears and confessionals. Like, that would make me get away from like all this game bodiness that I feel like is just becoming too much in this season.
That's true. That's
there's plenty of emotions this season. We're
plenty of emotions, but no,
they're just
like,
very loud.
Yeah, there's no soft emotions. Like, I want somebody to like. That's what I look forward to, like Natalie's confessionals, because they're like not. She's not yelling like everybody else. So I'm like, oh my gosh, she's speaking at a normal volume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I do like that. I think Natalie, when she's in her confessional, she's very put together, and she's like, I think it's because her job. She's very analytical. She's very poised and everything. It's just hard to see that in the game side, but in the confessional side, it's like, oh, I'm really getting like an insight into her. Mm-hmm. And I've been like super. I mean, that the one thing we were saying about the arguing, like I don't like all the arguing and like the yelling at each other and stuff. I'm like, let's just get to a battle. Like, let's just go. But when she got herself out of Spencer kicking her, I was like,
there you go.
Yes, I was like, short and sweet. Got it out of there, like, and then moved on.
But what we said on the podcast was that what I said is that, you know, she got out of it, and then he was like, "Who should I put up?" And then she was just kind of like with a fire hose, like, him, oh, over here. Like,
yeah, like Brent's suspicious, but also Billy and Shireen are together, and yeah.
it's like oh my gosh, pick one person, Natalie. I also didn't like what she said during the vote reveal this episode when you know, they revealed Natalie's vote, Marcelo, and Brendan. And Natalie said, I decided I didn't want Spencer here in the game anymore. It's like, oh, but when he comes back, you just, oh, that's not a good.
Yeah.
Marcelo, Marcelo was like, I straight up voted for you guys. And then
that doesn't mean anything.
How is it?
And then Brendan was like, I voted for the guy who said my name. And then Brent was like, yeah, I get it. And Brendan's like, I voted for you too. Like, oh,
right.
You don't need to like, man, people are just kicking each other while they're down, you know?
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. I just feel like, oh, yeah. No, I feel it's like you don't also want to be like, well, the house wanted to vote, so that's why I voted. Because then it's like, oh, you're a follower, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, like, come up with a better reason. Or like, you know, I think you didn't like, why don't we just put you back in? Like, I mean, I hate that reason, but yeah, I just don't want you here anymore. Like, ooh, guess what? He's back. Like, I don't think he's going to be going after Natalie at all. He's still going to be going after Muna just because Muna was so blatantly against him. Yeah. But then again, we get the whole Muna thing. Like, I don't really think I want Spencer to go. So I'm like super confused. So there might be a huge dynamic change, and like, it might completely switch, and maybe Spencer coming back gets to do something. Who knows? Like,
if we see Muna and Spencer, oh my gosh,
no, that's not gonna happen.
There's no world. There's no world.
Yeah, I mean, they've had like 3 different like public outbursts. Like, there's no way they
almost need each other.
No, but here's the thing: like, you can't. If I was in that position, I would like, okay, let's on the 5% chance Muna does want to work with me. I don't want to like risk looking stupid by trusting her after she's proven so many times that I can't trust her. So it'd be like partly a pride thing of like, I can't let myself be the person that I'm in conflict with.
Yeah,
right. That's true. I think he needs to use her to his advantage if she's gonna approach him with something, but like not fully put all his eggs in her basket type of thing. Like, he has Jacob, which is great. Like, I think like that's such an opposite game style, especially like, you know, like Jacob is lovable and everyone likes him, and then you have Spencer who's just like 6. What was it? He's tall. No one wants to vote for the guy taller than the refrigerator. Like, you know. Like, no, I love a dynamic switch, and unfortunately, I hope that doesn't happen just because Spencer leaves or something. You know, like I would hope that something would change sooner rather than the final 5 or something, you know, because once it gets there, it's like boom, 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 boom. Things have to happen now.
Yeah.
Or it's like someone said it too, like a lot of the big players go, what is it, 7, 6, and 5th, like, or 8, whatever. Like that is kind of coming up where it's kind of like, okay, well, who's going to make that move to get someone out that will probably either beat you in the end or like be like end up getting you out type of thing. So like, it's going to be interesting. So
yeah, we're kind of tired of watching the same episode over and over. I mean, this is kind of like the third time we've seen this, isn't it? Like,
we're
ready for something else.
When you know exactly who's, it's like, I had no doubt that was going to happen this episode, you know, like no doubt that, you know, so, and even last episode. So I'm really hoping for a change in dynamic. I hope something maybe changes. Hope it's not another tethered round to each other, because I don't think they would do it 3 times. But,
no.
yeah, I get that I like the tethering idea because, it's not it's your game, but you also have to have that social capital a little bit to like save yourself against this like horrid person that someone else doesn't like. But again, it's your own game, and then you can't really control it. Like Brent had no, like again, I'll say it over and over again. Brent got robbed. Robbed. I tell you, like. I did like the battle match. I thought that was really cool. Like, yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, it was way better than what we've been seeing.
Yeah, like I like seeing. I don't know. It was just so cool. Just like it was kind of like, okay, you have to focus, and then like it is like the balance, and then it like, I don't know, the little loop. Like
yeah, I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, I really liked it. I liked that one. I did like the battle match, the double elimination one with the numbers.
Really? I do.
I thought that was interesting. I was like, oh, an interesting concept. I like it, but it's not fun to watch.
Yeah, that was my problem.
I liked the concept, but like it's kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna watch them like get numbers. Like there's nothing exciting about it.
But if the numbers were in something more like visually appealing than like a sandbox, like if there was some sort of like more complicated way that they like retrieved numbers, that might be interesting. But yeah, this was definitely like the most physical one, but even this one, I don't think it was like necessarily gendered in any specific direction. I think that like anybody could have done it.
Yeah, I don't think that, like, looking at it, I honestly think girls would do better at it because they're shorter and skinny and like less body mass. So like
better balance.
Had better balance. And then like I was saying, like, of course Brett and Spencer are like the tallest, biggest guys out there, and they're gonna be like wobbling off of that little tiny thing. So like females would have had, I think, a better chance of that. So
but they do have longer strides. That's what I was thinking. Is like they don't have to like pull the plank as close and like. But I guess I think you have to use all the planks anyway. So I guess that's not that big of a difference if you're using all of them.
Yeah, it's either like one extra pull or like one longer walk type of thing.
Yeah, it's not that much of a difference. But yeah,
I liked it. I'm curious to see what's next because I feel like they're getting like a little bit more. We haven't seen a lot of like a lot of mental, like the memory one.
Well, that's the whole reason that that's the whole reason she made the pair. She's like, oh, Brent's going to beat Spencer in something mental. So, and well, that's what she said publicly. Obviously, that wasn't her actual feelings about it, but.
I want the classic 1 through 10 cards where you play one number at a time and you try to.
Oh, mine!
Yeah. That's what you beat Cameron, right?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, she won that one.
Yeah.
I won. But that one was literally so stressful because like I don't really play card games like that, and Cam has been talking all 4 days that she plays card games all the time and that she plays blah blah blah. I'm over here like, oh shit, there's cards. I'm like, I don't know. And I was getting so nervous. Like you could ask Audrey, I was like holding the things to my chest to like hide them, and I kept rubbing off the numbers off my chest. And I was looking, I was like, Audrey, what number is this? And she was like, oh my God. I was literally like shaking. I was like,
oh my God.
Oh no.
I love that challenge though. I can't wait for that one.
It's such a like there is no rhyme or reason to that. It's kind of like luck and taking it for it.
And like then you also have to remember what they have.
Exactly. So I feel like the beginning is where it's like, oh man, like, I didn't even know where I was going. The first half of it, I was like, oh God. But yeah, that one was stressful. That was so stressful, but that's a fun one to watch too. Like when I watch it again, I still have like palpitations.
Oh, I can't. I hope they do it.
I know. I was actually really hoping they would do Kingdom, but there's not enough people now to do Kingdom.
Really? Oh, that was really I really liked that challenge.
Because I think that, because if they did Kingdom, there's only 8. There would be 2, and then unless there was 2, 2, and 4, but then you have to. There's not enough rounds, like everyone would basically up for elimination. Like we had it, I think when there was 13. I think there was 13 people, so it had like a lot of like peasants stuff like that. I really liked Kingdom. I remember Josh said in his interview that if he was in Kingdom and if he was at the top, he would want to dethrone themselves quick and then get the other people dethroned so there's big threats all in the elimination so that he's not the last pair. Like Cam and Tori, they ended up getting dethroned in the last round. So then like there was like a lot of big threats, but like Josh said that he would have wanted to dethrone in the beginning if he was in the king queen position. So that like if it was them, there was other people. So I was like, that's an interesting like way to think about, because I guess if it's like a Natalie and no offense, Rachel and Natalie, no offense, if they're the two like peasants that got put up, and then it's like all of a sudden Muna and Jacob, people are going to vote for Muna and Jacob, you know, you're kind of screwed if you're the biggest person in like the elimination. Luckily with ours, it was like Kevin, Drew, Tori, and Cam. So they were like all huge names. But yeah, Josh said he would want to like teeter it first and then hopefully get other people to just keep overthrowing. Like he would just want them to keep overthrowing it. So there was like a lot of like higher choices, like higher class, not class. Oh, that sounds so bad. Like, the more people that are like a knight or a queen or whatever. So I thought that was really interesting. So I was hoping we would see that. But
those are the twists I love for the all the levels of thinking, all the
because there's like so much going on. Yeah, I'm excited.
What about like date night? Like, do you want to see date night happen again?
No, honestly, like I loved it because I got to dress up. So I was like, wow, I just feel like I actually was like still sweating from my battle. It was the same night. So I was like still sweating and I was like, I have to get cute right now. I was like, oh God. But I love the idea of seeing everybody all dressed up. I literally was like, oh my God.
I know, it's so cute. And then I will always remember when Jayla leaned in. Oh, because I will always remember that.
We still talk about it. Like, I like date night for the fact that like it kind of, because everyone was dressed up and nice, it kind of like made us take a step back for a second. Like, oh wait, we're like humans and like you're cute. But then I think also because like that round again, it was just going to be me again, and so then it was just everyone talking about me. So then it's like there wasn't again, you know, like so.
You and Cam sitting there talking.
Erica, was date night when you fell for Zach, Erica?
No.
No, okay. Oh God.
T.
Uncle was like, how did you date him after that? He lied to you. I was like, I don't know. I ask myself that all the time. He's like, it doesn't matter. He looks great. I was like, ooh.
Okay. I wonder if we'll see any sparks fly if they do date night. So that'd be fun.
I feel like everyone there is so not on that. Like, we had Jayla who was all like, this is Jayla's love show. And I'm over here talking about beautiful bald head. You know, like, I feel like that was from the jump. That was where you get our personality, you know, like our, ooh, he's cute, like, la, 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 you know. But we didn't get that a lot with them. So there's a lot more game. And that's where I see, it sucks we don't get that funny little, like, we don't see their personality as much as we did, I guess, previously. But yeah, I mean, date night would be funny because they'd all be like,
the Muna Spencer one would be hilarious.
It would just be like,
okay, now I want them both to stay in until date night.
I know.
That would be great. One thing I'll always remember from date night is when Jayla sat down with Hunter and she goes, I already gave 2 boys a boner. And then Hunter just cracks up.
Man, Miss Jayla, where's she this season? God.
I know. I think I'm gonna watch with Sunday. We watched the premiere together and it was so much fun. It just sucks with like COVID. Awesome. We'd have to going like somewhere big and like I passed by Rocco's every time and I'm like, Rocco's, like where we watched ours last year. I'm gonna try to see her because I have work off and stuff. So it's so fun watching with someone. Like it's so different. Like obviously Zooming and stuff like that, but I know a lot of us like can't wait to like have meetups again, even with like everybody, because I think everyone's gotten so close in like the community and like just like even the new season and all that. Like it's just not the same. But I'm excited. I'm excited for like what else it's gonna do for Sequester. Like this bringing this now when it's like so important and like the lack of reality shows and stuff like that. Like it's so incredible to see it like just blow up since like she has her own set of rules. She's doing it her way, you know, and it's so great. Like, and it's such a new concept and everything. So I'm really excited to see like what 2021 hopefully can bring, and hopefully another season, a non-COVID season.
Netflix. Come on, Netflix, pick it up.
Right? I need the Black Hat. I think it's on forever on the internet. I like want to watch it, and then I was like, I cannot find it anywhere. I cannot find it. But it's always fun to see, I think, where it came from. I think it'll be like, I tried watching Big Brother season 1 and I was like, oh my God, like I haven't seen this in like a million years, and it's so different. So it's great. Yeah, like it's just crazy to see like where it's come from. So it's just been like, it's incredible how much Audrey puts into this, and like her baby is growing and living its best life. So it's fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what happens even with this season. I can't even tell like who I think like I don't even know who's going to be in the finals, only because if Final Four is the same, it literally just turns the game upside down because you could literally be doing everything right, and then Final Four could just suck that you're out of here.
I think we definitely see Marcelo and Billy there. I think those are two people I want to guarantee are in Final Four. Ooh, that feels like too risky.
Those two are tight. I think Marcelo even said to Muna, as like he said to Muna, no one knows how tight me and Billy are. So I think like that's going to be a pair to watch.
Okay.
Yeah, you never see that together.
I actually just watched. I watched just a couple of clips from your season, Erica, and the one that you went out. You and Tori were talking about how like you guys had to get to Final Four together because you were the two biggest threats, and no one was gonna like let you guys get to Final Two unless you were there together. And then neither of you end up making Final Four. But I think there are a lot of big threats left in this season that I think no matter what the configuration is, the Final Four, I think we'll get something interesting.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think so too. I think and it sucks that like. If that they're like with ours, I guess like there were threats in ours, but I guess since we were like had battled so much, we were like seeing that. But I think in this one too, there's also like social threats more with the physical threats. Like people in ours didn't quite see like the social threat really as much. So at least this season it'll be like, oh well, you might be a physical threat if there's another challenge. So there was a challenge up until like literally J-Lo walked right in from her challenge and it was the Final Four, from her battle match. So it'll be I think with only 8 and like the only person. They might, I don't know. Unfortunately, I hope Natalie does something so that she can like.
I know.
I don't know. Like, I don't even, because there's 2. Oh my gosh, I just realized there's 2 LOSs and the battle match pick thing. So that's like someone was saying, like, imagine like someone gets eliminated. They pick Jacob and Jacob's like, psych, here's my battle match play. And I'm going to take myself off and then I'm going to put Muna up and Muna's like, psych, like I'm using my LOS. And then he's like, okay, I'm putting Josh up. And Josh is like, psych,
Okay, I just realized how great it would be if Jacob used his battle match thing to put up Muna and then Muna LOS'd it and then they're both still in the game for the next round. That would be incredible. That would be
and then if he picks Josh and then Josh is like, psych, I have an LOS too. And then it's like, who's left?
I know. Like, that would be kind of see the fallout of like Muna and Jacob because he keeps talking about how he wants to backstab her, but like Muna says, like if you shoot and miss, like
better
that's gonna be insane.
Better look right. I don't know.
This is my thought with having like you have to. I feel like you have to assume everyone has an LOS. Like you just have to assume. I think. Like I would hope that maybe Jacob can like rally a little group of people, but there's 8 left. Oh, that's hard. You have to get 5 votes or split them. Like trying to split them is so hard to be like 3 vote here, 4 vote there, and 1. It's really hard. So like he's gonna have to get 5 votes. But if he can like blindside Muna, because you have to use your LOS before your name is called, So that's why I'm hoping if maybe something. Not the thing is, they have no idea if she has one, but to blindside someone, I feel like he really needs to try to get a little group of people and get her at the vote. Oof. And then he can use his safety and be like, not me, or even with her, with the stuff they think, I don't know. That's just my theory. Like, I would hope that could happen because that would be incredible. But again, they don't know she has an LOS. But also, why don't you just vote for her, And then
I like what you're saying about make a big move while you have that protection of not being picked for a battle. Like, do that big shot when you can.
Yeah, they have to think about it. Like they're at 8. Like you have to do something like. Because there's not many people to get picked anymore. You don't, and if you get the people out that are trying to get you might as well get them out now. And now he has that, like you said, the protection. Like, even if she did get eliminated, like her LOS is flushed, then she's like, well, fine, I'm going against you. And he's like, not today. So I think that would be ideal, obviously. But
when Muna came back, she was like, everyone you've eliminated has lost due to being picked for a battle match, so no one's moves count. And so now Jacob's like, oh, you want me to make a move? I'll just get you out. That's my move. You told me I didn't have any moves that counted, so here we go.
Right?
Yeah, I really didn't get that speech. Like, why does no one move count? I don't understand. Like, the logic of that.
Weird. That was really weird.
Like, at the very least, then, like, everyone's still on 0. Like, everyone's still on the same level. If no one's moves count, then it doesn't. I don't.
She,
Yeah, I
was,
didn't really get
she was just trying to paint the target on Spencer more. He didn't need it painted more on him though, but she was just trying to put it on him, I think.
Yeah. Can't believe we didn't see Spencer be like, why not keep a pair that's going at each other in the game? Like, if me and Moona are going at each other, what's the point of getting me out? If, like, then Moona's coming after me, I'm coming after Moona, then that, like, we're not coming after you. Like, that's 2 less people we have to worry about.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I thought that was a weird speech too, just because it's like, it doesn't count, but like, yeah, you're like, you might have socially got yourself to be eliminated, but then you've like physically got to get yourself out of a battle. You want a battle match. And so like, yeah, you might have been really good socially, not got eliminated, but then you couldn't, again, follow it up with action, to like save yourself. So, and especially with the game where it's a 50% chance, not like with season 1, 2, and 3, where someone gets eliminated and then they pick 2, like you have that 50% chance of winning and coming back. So it's like, I don't know, like I don't get like it does count because you weren't able to battle back. Like, you couldn't win. So I thought that was kind of like the people who have won, it kind of puts a like meh on it, like, oh, so their winning doesn't really matter. Like, okay.
Yeah,
like you didn't have
the format of Sequester. It's not, it's not Survivor, it's not Big Brother. Like, you do have a chance to come back if you get eliminated.
Mm-hmm. But it's also like you were eliminated and you have a chance. So
right. Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's okay. You're talking all this talk about these people getting eliminated, but you were one of them. And okay, it's hard, but again, you get tunnel vision a little bit, and you see everything your way, and you see that like this is how it should be, and whatever. So, but I'm really hoping for a dynamic switch. I'm really hoping.
I know.
I'm gonna
you know what? If Spencer recovers this next episode, I'm fine with it. Like, recover. Let's get this show on the road. Like, let's see what happens next.
Yeah, and if they're all such strategic masterminds, they could figure out something to get a big target out of this point.
Yep.
I don't know. I know it's exciting. It's obviously exciting to see the underdog keep coming back and winning and all that, but how much longer am I going to keep doing it?
Yep. I think
he got 3 in a row. So.
Sheesh, I think we're gonna see it turn around. I'm waiting for the Jacob Jones clap. We'll see that happen next week, hopefully. But yeah, is there any other thoughts before we wrap up this episode recap?
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I'm excited to see people turn on each other, and I'm ready.
Yes.
And very ready for it. People talk about it, I feel like, but they're not really doing it. So I'm excited to see it.
Erica, what's your Twitter handle if people want to follow you to get all your hot takes as you watch?
It's Erica with 2 A's, ERICAA, Hersh, HERSH. So 2 A's and 2 H's at the end. Yes, and then one down here. Yeah, I like Twitter. And
your Miss Twitter fingers.
A little bit. I try to be like. I try not to be like one way, and I try to see everyone's perspective. I try, but it's still fun to see like other people comment and like them think like differently. It's cool to see everyone's like different opinions and stuff like that, and then kind of like, bounce back and forth. And it's like it's a healthy conversation versus like you're wrong and I'm right. So
Erica, when you first got on, my friend Jamie Boots was in the chat saying that he was like loving all of your takes. He was like, "Yes, LMAO, I'm choking." Like he was dying. He thought you were great.
Oh, I'm glad I'm not just saying stuff and it's like so off base. So I would hope having a little bit of like the experience of it would. I think the experience gives me a little bit like, okay, I understand where they're coming from. Like, why didn't you do that? Like,
yeah.
But there's so many things.
Thank you so much for coming on today to talk about this up. This has been so much fun. I love hearing your thoughts. And
thanks for having me. It's so fun. I love it.
Yeah. Yes. So I guess we'll be recapping next week, 7 on hopefully Tuesday. And thank you again, Erica.